There was no voice today.
Yes, there was. There's always a voice.
Not on my side.
I wonder if because last time I didn't have my earphones in, so it was just my phone.
Oh, yeah.
But because I have them in, you can't hear it.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. It's too early for us.
I know.
It's not even 10 a.m. We're not used to this.
But it's a beautiful day. Oh, you
It
can't
is.
see.
Well, I can see out my window, but
Yes.
anyways, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal, everyone. We are your host. I am Rachel, and I am solo, and we have...
I'm Kaz, and I'm solo, but not really, if you're looking. I'm joined by some very special guests today, this morning.
whatever time it is.
Exactly.
When you're listening to this. Oh my lord. Yeah, we're filming. Yeah, we are filming, but we're recording early because we are both very busy this upcoming week. Mine is with actual real work, my real job. And Kaz is doing the day. She's going
And
to
I'm
some
happy.
movies.
I am. I'm looking forward to it.
So
We're
yeah,
sort
so that's
of-
why we're recording early. But it probably will work.
I think it will. It has to.
And then we have, after this week, we've got an investigation and then another investigation, and then we're off on our adventure.
Oh my gosh.
It is
I'm
coming
very
really
excited.
Me
It
too.
really is. And I'm trying to somewhat slow it down because otherwise summer's going to be gone. And
Yeah.
then we'll be in parkers and sweaters, just our eyeball showing again.
I don't want that. Listen, it can stay like this forever.
I know.
According to the news right now, it is 23 degrees Celsius and feels like about 26 degrees Celsius because we are Canadian. And today is supposed to be 29 degrees Celsius before the humidex. So
I believe it. I finished work the other day. It was like 6:30 and it was 29 outside still.
I know. It was lovely.
I'm so happy.
It was lovely. But that's pretty much all the news for the Paranormal Seekers. We don't have much this week.
No.
When this airs, we will have done our special investigation with our special guests. So that would have been fun because we're out with proof.
Yeah.
For those who do not know, some of the proof team members were part of the Paranormal Seekers back in the day. And, they branched off on their own, and now we're all coming back together. So it's kind of interesting. So we can't wait for that. Hopefully this has been a great time. We'll talk about it more afterwards. But yeah. And then we have another investigation in Halliburton after that. So fun times. We're going to...
Wicked.
This month with some fun investigations. But yeah, that's about it. June is half over.
It's not right. Next weekend, the weekend that this airs, actually the day this airs is Father's Day, but also first day of summer.
Yeah. I don't know. It needs to stop and slow down.
I know. Sadly, the first day of summer is also the beginning of the dark half of the year. So every day after that starts to get dark. We just got it.
I know. It doesn't last very long.
I know.
It's a scandal, like today's episode.
Only it's a real thing, unlike today's topic.
Well, our topic was real, all right. It was real ridiculous. But anyways, for those of you who didn't listen last week, our topic of discussion for today is psychic scandals.
Psychic scandals.
So we're going to talk about all your favorite and well-known and maybe some that you don't really know individuals who kind of exploited, I guess, if you want to say.
Not kind of.
Paranormal stuff?
Absolutely did.
And I will say they probably did have abilities to a point, but they used them not in the right way.
Exactly.
we're not trying to like say these people didn't, have abilities, or that some of the stuff that they said was true, but a lot of the stuff they said wasn't.
Let's just say when television and money come into it,
Yeah.
suddenly it's a whole different ball game.
It's a free for all.
Yeah.
All right. I guess
So we'll get to that.
I don't know what. All right, I'll go first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I dropped my paperclip. Whatever. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about a story that combines psychic predictions, mass mailings, international investigations, and enough junk mail to fill a haunted mansion from basement to attic. This is the story of Maria Duval. Now, if you're thinking, who is Maria Duval? Because I said the same thing because I've never heard of her. Don't worry. Chances are you've never met her. But if you lived in North America, Europe, Australia, or just about anywhere with a mailbox between the 1980s and 2010s, there's a decent chance Maria Duval knew you. Or at least she claimed she did. All right, so Maria Duval was presented as a world-famous psychic from France. According to the promotional letters, she possessed extraordinary abilities, had advised celebrities, which they all have, predicted major world events, and had personally identified you as someone special. Not just special, but exceptionally special.
Well, it does sound like she knows me.
Listen,
so far.
We're all fucking special. Some a little more than others. Anyways, so in fact, according to Maria, out of the billions of people on this earth, she had psychically selected you because you possess unique energy and were destined for incredible wealth, happiness, and success.
Oh my God. Oh, yes. Like, where do I sign up?
It's in your mailbox, not an email. This is a mailbox. You're snail mailing. Okay. So conveniently, all she needed was a small processing fee. Funny how destiny always comes with required postage. So recipients would receive highly personalized letters that often begin with statements like, "Dear friend, I was drawn to your name during a psychic vision." Or, "I have spent many hours studying your unique aurora." Yeah. Imagine being so psychic that you somehow study the aurora of a complete stranger living 6,000 kilometers away whom you've never met.
That's brilliant.
Remarkably clairvoyant or remarkably accessible to mailing lists. All right, the letters often promised impending fortunes, lottery wins, inheritance, romantic breakthroughs, or dramatic life-changing opportunities.
Oh, yes.
To unlock these blessings, recipients needed to send money for special readings, lucky charms, personalized predictions, or mystical guidance. And guess what? People did. A lot of people did. Okay, over the years, millions upon millions of letters were mailed worldwide. Some estimates suggest that recipients sent hundreds of millions of dollars in response. Why haven't we thought of this yet? All right, so now here's
because we're not devious pieces of shat.
We're not idiots. Okay.
We're also not millionaires. So,
So here's where things start getting weird. Investigative journalists begin noticing something odd. The letters looked incredibly personal, but thousands of people were receiving nearly identical versions. So apparently, Maria's psychic visions were having a copy and paste phase.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, you're sideways.
Yes, sorry.
It's okay. Different recipients reported receiving letters that claimed they were among a tiny group of specifically chosen individuals. The problem with this was everybody was being told they were specially chosen individuals. Statistically speaking, Maria may have had more 1 in a million clients than there were people on this planet. As investigations continued, reporters uncovered a mass direct mail operation operating behind the scenes. So companies associated with the letters maintained enormous mailing databases and targeted vulnerable individuals, particularly seniors and those experiencing financial hardships.
Brutal.
So many recipients reported receiving letter after letter after letter, and we're not talking about a birthday card once a year. Some people received dozens, others received hundreds.
Wow.
Many recipients, hold on. All right, here we go. Imagine opening your mailbox every morning only to discover Maria once again urgently needed to tell you that a giant fortune was right around the corner. Every day. All right. So it says at this point, Maria wasn't predicting the future. She was becoming the future. By the 2010s, international authorities and journalists began digging even deeper. Major investigations allege that the operation behind the letters generated hundreds of millions of dollars while relying on mass-produced marketing techniques disguised as personalized psychic communication. The biggest twist? Reports suggest that the real Maria Duval may not have been actively involved in many of the letters being sent in her name during the later years.
Oh, dear.
So investigations allege that businesses had acquired rights to use her image and persona as part of the marketing operation. So think about that for a second. The psychic at the center of the empire may not have fully known what was happening under her own brand. That's either an astonishing business arrangement or spectacular failure of psychic foresight. Eventually, regulatory agencies, consumer protections organizations, and law enforcement agencies took action. The operation faced investigations, legal challenges, and substantial scrutiny around the world. So for many critics, the Maria Duval story became less about psychic phenomena and more about aggressive marketing targeting vulnerable people who are often searching for hope. Isn't that fun?
That's so sad.
I know. It's ridiculous. But yeah, but that's the curious and mysterious and remarkably well-posted story of Maria Duval.
Oh my gosh. Marie Laveau, that is the voodoo queen that I thought you were going to talk about.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no.
God. I'm like, you're brave. Like, I wouldn't be discrediting her.
No. I didn't even know she existed, so we're all good.
Oh, she's phenomenal. Well, I think the trend that we're going to see with all of these people is that they prey on the unfortunate.
Yep.
People in their time of need.
Yep.
Much like my next person, or my first person, I suppose, which is Peter Popoff. I had not heard of this person.
Peter Popoff?
Yes.
Yes. And now he is all over my feed. Here we go. Peter Popoff is a German-born American televangelist and faith healer. Born in West Berlin on July 2nd, 1946, he fled with his family to the United States and eventually settled in Upland, California. He rose to fame in the early 1980s through psychic-style faith healing before being exposed as a massive fraud in 1986. So his early life. Popoff's father was a Bulgarian evangelical pastor. Popoff began appearing as a preacher in 1960 and billed himself as the Miracle Boy evangelist. After graduating from University of California, Santa Barbara in 1970, he married his wife Elizabeth and began touring revival meetings. By the early 1980s, his aggressive, high-energy sermons were being broadcast nationally on TV. He became famous for miraculously identifying audience members, naming their streets, and accurately detailing chronic medical conditions. He would famously demand that the people break free from the devil and tossed their prescription pills onto stage. He claimed these supernatural abilities were revealed to him directly from God himself. Okay. In 1986, renowned stage magician and investigator James the Amazing Randy,
Who, by the
along with
way, is Canadian.
there you go, took Canadian to get there. Along with a surveillance expert, attended Popoff's revival meetings armed with radio scanners. They discovered Popoff was wearing a hidden earpiece. Prior to the show, his wife Elizabeth and ministry staff would collect prayer cards from the audience. Elizabeth would secretly go through these cards and read the names, addresses, and medical issues into a radio transmitter, allowing Popoff to repeat the details back on stage as if reading them clairvoyantly. Randy played intercepted radio transmission recordings of Popoff's wife feeding him information during a broadcast of The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carlson. The devastating national exposure ruined Popoff's television empire, and his organization forced to file for bankruptcy in 1987. So one of his famous things was the wheelchair trick. Popoff often had his aides specifically select individuals who could walk but with some difficulty, or he utilized planted actors. During the climax of his sermons, he would command them to rise and break free of their wheelchairs. The subjects would stand and walk without assistance, prompting joyous emotional outbursts from the faithful audience. This morning, I'm not kidding you, on my feed was this exact thing. He called upon this senior woman who could barely even walk. And I guess it was part of the earpiece scandal because you could hear his wife say the name. And then she's like, oh, this is her address. So he's saying it. And this woman's like, that's me. And he's like, oh, you've got a walker and you want to be free. And so she can barely stand and he yanks her out of her seat. And he's like, God be with you. Blah, 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 blah. And then his wife's like, she's riddled with arthritis. And he's like, I'm burning it out of you. And then he does his thing where he like slaps them on the forehead and just throws them off into the crowd. And then he's like, walk. And this poor senior woman cannot walk, but he's dragging her. And then he lets go and she almost falls. And he's like, God's got you now. Like it. It's so awful. And she's like, she's like, what the fuck? Anyways, to demonstrate their faith in the healings was absolute, Popoff frequently instructed the crowd to break free from the devil by throwing their prescription medication onto stage. Dozens of vulnerable people would comply, discarding potentially life-saving drugs for conditions like diabetes and heart disease. I have no idea if people ever died as a result of this man. I'm sure they did. When his electronic scam was exposed and he temporarily went bankrupt in the late 80s, Popoff adapted his tactics for subsequent revivals and his mail-in operations. He pivoted to broad, generalized statements known as the shotgun technique. By announcing to a crowd very generalized types of illnesses were being healed, it allowed suggestible audience members to apply the blessings to themselves directly. Despite the highly publicized exposure, Popoff eventually returned to television. He shifted his marketing tactics and now primarily solicits donations by selling miracle spring water and blessed oils. Popoff routinely sends direct mail and runs late night infomercials promising followers that using his blessed products would clear their debt, cure their disease, and bring them sudden wealth. His methods remain highly controversial and have drawn regulatory scrutiny globally. For instance, in the UK, media regulators have penalized television networks for airing his infomercials and broadcasting unverified, miraculous medical claims made by his congregation. Today, Popov continues to operate, running massive direct mail campaigns and broadcasting his television ministry. So if you want to be cured, send your money.
Didn't they do that in like the early 1900s somewhere, like in the States, where they were selling like this like miracle water that would like cure cancers and stuff, and people still died because of it?
That's throughout history, isn't that?
Is
like
it like
snake
Eureka
oil
Springs or something like that? Yeah, snake. Yeah,
Eureka Spring, isn't that an actual place?
yeah, that's what I mean.
And then they have that spa that you can go to.
Yeah,
Probably then.
the shit
Probably.
people believe in, like.
It's the same as Waverly Hills. Come here and sit outside in fresh air and you'll be fine. And then all the people are dying of tuberculosis because they're like, whoops.
Yes,
We don't know why you're dying still. The breeze is hitting you in the face.
You got a lot of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Jay walked out of the room after he heard pop off and he went,
It's hard to say his name and not laugh. And if he's like, I'm the faith healer, pop off, you'd be like, ah.
Sure you
You'd be like, this has to be a gimmick.
You're going to just pop off somewhere.
I know. It's like our infamous Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't know that I can take you seriously while you're giving me a gynecological exam.
Maybe if he was like a veterinarian, I might be like, okay, yeah.
Exactly. He needs to be a mortician. That's the only way you can do something like that. You have to be in some weird scope of medicine. You can't just be a regular like GP or be like, I deliver babies, Doctor Strange. Like, no.
Oh my gosh. Well,
that's for a whole other episode.
Oh yeah. All right. So my story, next story.
I'm listening. Keep going.
Yeah. So this story has everything: tarot cards, family curses, millions of dollars, gold coins, luxury cars, and enough spiritual cleansing to make a laundromat jealous. This is the story of the infamous Florida tarot fraud. So now most people who visit psychics are looking for guidance. Maybe they're curious about their future. Maybe they're wondering if that new relationship is going to work out. Or maybe they just want to know if they should finally quit their terrible job and open a haunted antique store. You know, normal stuff.
Doo-doo-doo.
But according to federal prosecutors, a group of psychics operating in Florida had a very different business model. So the operation was allegedly led by a woman named Rose Marks and members of her extended family, who operated multiple psychic businesses throughout South Florida. So they advertised tarot readings, astrology consultations, spiritual guidance, and psychic services. So on the surface, everything looked fairly standard fortune-telling business. Then came the hook. A client would arrive with a problem, maybe a sick relative, a failing marriage, financial difficulty, bad luck, you know, it's the same thing.
The usual.
Yeah, the usual. The psychic would perform a reading and then reveal some terrible news.
Oh, no.
There was a curse. Not just any curse, a powerful curse, a dangerous curse, a curse so severe that only the psychic sitting across from them could remove it.
Oh, of course. I'm pretty sure we had this person at that Christmas market.
Oh, probably. It's a bit like taking your car to a mechanic who tells you that your transmission is possessed by an evil spirit. But don't worry, for only $50,000, he can handle it.
That's a bargain.
According to evidence presented in court, clients were told that negative energy, curses, and dark forces were responsible for their problems. The psychics allegedly claimed that expensive spiritual rituals and cleansings were needed to save them and their loved ones. And expensive is mildly putting it. Some victims handed over jewelry, others gave cash, others surrendered gold coins. In some cases, clients were told that their money itself had become spiritually contaminated and needed to be cleansed. Yeah. Imagine hearing that your bank account has become haunted. I would like, what the fuck? Like, why? I don't understand how people fell for this. But anyways, the solution to this, hand all your money over to the psychic. Just hand it over. According to prosecutors, victims were assured that their money would be blessed, cleansed, protected, and eventually returned. Spoiler alert, it generally wasn't. So the scheme reportedly operated for years and eventually attracted federal attention. Investigators alleged that victims were manipulated into surrendering enormous amounts of money while believing they were protecting themselves or their families from supernatural harm. The operation ultimately resulted in charges that included fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, and related offenses. One of the most astonishing aspects of the case was the amount of money that was actually involved. Federal prosecutors alleged losses totaling approximately $25 million from victims that they were paying for spiritual intervention. Why? How? I still don't understand it. $25 million. At that point, you're not cleansing bad energy. You're generating enough revenue to ball a Smile Island and name it Curse-Free Cove. The trial became one of the most significant psychic fraud prosecutions in American history because it tackled a difficult legal question. How do you distinguish between a psychic offering a reading and outright fraud? After all, fortune telling itself is generally protected speech. The government wasn't arguing that tarot cards were illegal. They were arguing that psychics couldn't offer readings. Instead, prosecutors argued that fraud occurred when clients were deliberately deceived into handing over money and valuables with promises that they would be safeguarded, cleansed, and returned when there was allegedly never any intention of returning them. So in other words, the tarot cards weren't on trial, the money trail was. So following a lengthy investigation and trial, Rose Marks was convicted and sentenced to prison. The case became one of the most widely cited examples of psychic fraud in North America. What's particularly fascinating is that this case highlighted a reality often misunderstood by the public. So victims weren't foolish. Many were educated, many were successful, and many were simply going through difficult periods in their lives. So when people are scared, grieving, lonely, or desperate, they are often searching for answers. And that's exactly what these kind of schemes can be so effective. Investigators who specialize in psychic fraud, I didn't know there was investigators that specialize.
Oh, yeah.
Frequently note that vulnerability, not intelligence, is usually the deciding factor. And that is perhaps the most important lesson from the Florida tarot fraud. The scam wasn't really about tarot cards. It wasn't about crystal balls. It wasn't really even about psychics. It was about exploiting hope. Because when someone tells you that their family is cursed, your future is in danger, and the only thing that can save you, and they're the only ones that can save you, the real red flag isn't the curse, it's the invoice. And that is the bizarre, expensive, and surprisingly well-documented story of the Florida tarot fraud. And I am hearing static, and in that static, I am hearing voices.
I don't hear static.
That is so weird. When I talk...
Do you still hear it?
Not right now. But when I'm talking, like when I was like reading my story and like talking, I can hear the static. And there was a female voice in the static.
Maybe it's my next person coming back to complain, but I don't know. While you were reading that, so many times I was going to say something, but it will get us canceled so fast if I say it. So remind me when we're off air so I can tell you about it, and you'll be like, holy shit.
But see, the funny thing is, what I just read, there's so many, even I think every year the news, like CTV, does an episode or a segment on people who pay money like this, like what I literally just talked about. It's the exact same thing, you know? And we've had people email us telling us that they've gone to see a psychic and it's going to cost them $5,000 for, you know, for them to cleanse them. And I'm like, no. What goes on?
I know. It's the same as people Like that woman in the States who believes she's engaged to Matt Rife and has sent him hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to judge these people because the mindset that they're in.
Yeah.
Again, it's a vulnerable person.
Yeah. You're preying on it. It's like all those people.
Yeah.
It's like when you get catfished.
That's exactly what it is. That's what
Those
the
love
Matt Rife
scams.
is.
Those love scams. My mom and I were just talking about that the other day.
That happened with a neighbor of mine, and she gave away insane amounts of money. She lost her house, everything. And people were telling her, this is not true. It's not real.
Yeah.
And she would just go for, anyways, whatever. So the woman that was talking to you earlier could very well be the next person I'm about to talk to, who's sitting right here next to me. If you're watching this, she's a big part of my like teenage years.
I think she's a big part of all of our teenage. Listen.
Exactly. If you were off sick at all in the like mid to late 90s, you would have watched her on TV because I guarantee she would have been there. And that is, of course, Sylvia Browne, psychic detective. Sylvia Browne was a famous yet highly controversial American self-proclaimed psychic medium and author. Her career was defined by massive mainstream success and highly publicized, devastatingly inaccurate predictions. Born in October 19th in 1936 in Kansas City, Missouri, she grew up in Missouri before moving to California in 1964. She lived and practiced in the San Jose and Campbell, California area for the rest of her life. She claimed to have begun experiencing psychic visions as early as 3 years old. I don't remember anything when I was 3, so I'm shocked that she did, but there we go. She was highly encouraged by her grandmother, also a practicing psychic medium. She officially opened up shop and began working as a professional psychic in 1973. In 1974, she founded the Nirvana Foundation for Psychic Research. By the late 1970s, Browne became a semi-regular guest on a San Francisco television program called People Are Talking. In the 1990s and 2000s, she became a household name. She appeared weekly as the resident psychic on the Montel Williams shows for 17 years. 17 years.
I know.
And was a frequent guest on the Larry King live show. Pause for a moment. If you don't know who Montel Williams is, or was, I don't know if he's still alive. I think he is.
He is. He's still alive.
And if you never saw his show, you need to pause this, go Google him, and then you'll know who he is. Because in the mid 1990s, early 2000, talk shows were massive, and he was one of the biggest names, other than Sally Jesse Raphael and Ricky Lake and all that stuff. Anyways, back to Sylvia. So she authored over 40 books, which she always had a new book she was promoting when she was on Montel's show. Every day she'd be like, I made a new book. And you're like, how the fuck did you do that overnight? I'm pretty sure Rachel has all of them. I'm sure I had a bunch.
They're from my grandma. This is actually the one that's actually up in my bedroom. I think I have like 4 or 5 of them downstairs. This is one that I have.
Any thrift store has a good selection of her books. I guarantee it. And again, I don't know that I've actually read any of them, but they're all pretty much, I think,
one,
the
the back
same.
says, this is a valuable book that provides long-awaited answers to some of humankind's most persistent questions, done in the way only Sylvia can.
Of course. Via bullshit. So she was also on a radio, or she hosted a radio show on Hay House Radio, and commanded hefty fees, reportedly charging $750 for her private consultations in the 90s. I'm pretty sure towards the end of her career, she was up to like $2,000 an hour. Yeah. It was insane the amount of money she would charge. And the wait list was like years. Anyways, in 1986, she founded the Gnostic Christian Church, the Society of Novus Spiritus, where she taught spiritual philosophies via her longtime spirit guide called Francine. And feel free to research that as you wish, because I did not and don't care. Oh, I skipped a page. There we go. So let's talk about the scandals and controversies. So Brown's career was ultimately overshadowed by her dangerous, inaccurate predictions. Some of the most notoriously bad predictions were the Amanda Berry case 2004. During a live episode of the Montel Williams show, Brown told Luana Miller that her missing 16-year-old daughter, Amanda Berry, was dead. She's not alive, honey. Exactly what she said. And was supposedly somewhere in a body of water. Berry was actually alive, having been kidnapped and held in captivity for a decade. Berry's mother passed away in 2005, just 2 years prior to Berry's final escape, believing that her daughter was dead because of Brown's assertions. In 2002, the Sean Hornbeck case, Brown told the parents of 11-year-old Sean Hornbeck that he was dead and had been abducted by a dark-skinned Hispanic man with dreadlocks. Hornbeck was, in fact, very much alive, and in 2007. His actual kidnapper was a short-haired Caucasian man. In 2002, the Holly Cruson case, Brown falsely told the mother of 20-year-old missing woman Holly Cruson that her daughter had run away to Hollywood and was working as a stripper. 4 years later, dental records confirmed that Cruson's remains had actually been discovered in 1996. In 1999, during an episode of the Montel Williams show, Brown told the grandmother of missing 16-year-old girl, Opal Joan Jennings, that the child was alive and had been sold into slavery in Japan. The child's remains were later discovered in Texas, and a pathologist determined she had been killed the night of her abduction, 1999. I missed one. Hold on a second. Oh, where did I miss one? I need to go back. Wait a second. I don't know where I missed one. Because oh, there we go. So in 1992, long before the peak of her television fame, Brown and her then husband were indicted and convicted of grand larceny and investment fraud relating to bogus gold and jewelry mining schemes. Now, her and her husband owned, I believe, a jewelry store. That's why she was always riddled with jewelry and everything else. So following widespread public backlash and journalistic investigations revealing that she was frequently wrong. I think frequently should be just removed and always wrong. I don't think
wrong.
she ever got a prediction right.
You know what? I'm gonna go before you move on. I'm gonna go dig into my box of books downstairs and see, because she wrote a book about future predictions.
Oh my
in the
God.
90s. And if I have that one, we could do a whole episode.
I know. Well, let's see if she was right. Did she predict her own demise? Probably not. So often making vague, unverified claims to families at their most vulnerable moments, Brown faced intense scrutiny from skeptic groups like the James Randi Foundation or Educational Foundation. When confronted with her incorrect premonitions, most notoriously telling grieving families that their missing loved ones were dead when they were actually alive. Sylvia Brown typically offered dismissive excuses rather than apologies. Her most frequently used responses included, "Only God is right all the time." She frequently used this phrase to deflect criticism, claiming that even the best psychics couldn't be expected to have 100% accuracy. When another kidnapping victim was found alive after she declared them dead, she often used the excuse, "I got my wires crossed and had picked up on the wrong kid" in her vision. That's a classic. Her public relations team would sometimes point to her long career and claim that she had helped thousands of people, arguing that mistakes were just a natural part of her work. Oh my God. Following the miraculous escape of Amanda Berry in 2013, Brown stated, "If ever there was a time to be grateful and relieved for being mistaken, this is the time," as if that cleared her of the inaccuracy. Sylvia Brown died in November 20th, 2013 at the age of 77, leaving behind her infamous legacy to her son Christopher, who is also a psychic, who is also very expensive. I don't know if he is so much now, but I know at the time, like sort of peak when she was charging thousands of dollars for her um 1 hour sessions,
Mhm.
she would deflect and say, "Oh, but you can see my son for only like $1,000 and he's just as good," which
He
I
pops
don't
up on
know.
my like news feeds and stuff too, and he's like, "I'm Sylvia Brown's son." And I'm like,
I know. And he's always promoting like how accurate she was. And I'm like, when?
yeah.
But people loved her. I loved her. So I first became aware of her on a rerun of a show called That's Incredible that originally aired in the early 1980s. This episode documented Sylvia Brown doing a paranormal investigation of an infamous haunted Toys R Us store located in Sunnyvale, California. In this episode, Sylvia picks up on the deceased farmhand named Johnny Johnson, who was a farmhand for the farm that originally was on the land long before the store was built in 1970. Johnny supposedly had a farm accident and bled to death. He was in love with the farmer's daughter and thus remains haunting the land and in turn the Toys R Us store in order to hopefully one day find his lost love. During the episode, Sylvia and guests are in an aisle doing a seance when Sylvia picks up on Johnny's spirit and she requests someone quickly takes a photo. On the infrared photo is what appears to be a man in a cowboy hat leaning against the shelves at the end of the aisle. This photo is one of the most famous pieces of television paranormal law at the time. I was so terrified of this picture. My parents would not let me watch ghost shows for a while. Like I slept with lights on. I was so like, oh my God. Um, so it's what made me fall in love with Sylvia. I watched all of her stuff. I got some of her books. I fell for her BS because I loved it. It's also what got me interested in ghosts. So kudos to her at that point. For the record, the infamous photo of Johnny the farmhand has very much been debunked and proven to be double exposure and camera trickery. So even that was bullshit back then. I don't actually even know if there was a farmhouse originally on the land where the Toys R Us was either, but whatever. This was 80s. No one even knew about that stuff at the time. So that's poor little Sylvia.
She was also on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
I know. She's been on quite a few things back in the day with her
Mhm.
short little haircut. Um, and that's the thing. Most of the people, especially that I'm talking about, were at a time where paranormal investigation, psychic readings, this was all just starting to become a thing. So people kind of fell for it hook, line, and sinker because there was nothing to gauge it on. And there was no one really challenging them.
And I know the next ones you're going to talk about, they're they came right in with the whole like satanic panic and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I next? I'm next.
Yes, as I choke. The land, honey, the land. I'm channeling a little Sylvia there.
Oh Lord. All right. Well, you'll know this one for sure. Some people, a lot of people might. Some people might not. But if
it's who I think if it's who I think it is, you have to do the accent. We'll get canceled 100%.
I can't do that one. I think that's my last one. But this one,
okay.
If you were watching paranormal television in the early 2000s,
you could do his accent too.
I'm not as good as you though. There was one man who could walk into a haunted castle, point dramatically at a wall, and within 30 seconds announce that he was being possessed by the ghost of a 14th century blacksmith named Nigel. That man was Derek Acorah.
I loved him.
Anyways.
Go ahead.
All right, so now before we begin, let's acknowledge something important. Derek Acorah was television gold, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not because he was necessarily the greatest medium that ever lived, not because he was the most accurate, not, but because nobody, and I mean nobody, could turn a perfectly ordinary ghost hunt into a full-blown Shakespearean possession scene faster than he could. And it's funny because you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know. Sam, yeah. Can you hear me, Sam?
The man didn't just talk to spirits, he became them.
I love it.
All right. So 1 minute he'd be standing in a hallway, the next he'd be rolling around on the floor, speaking in what sounded suspiciously like a drunk pirate, attempting a South African accent while Yvette Fielding looked increasingly concerned about her insurance premiums.
Yes.
And honestly, it was magnificent television.
It really was.
But then came the scandal that would become paranormal television's version of Watergate. The infamous Creed Kafer incident. So now if you've never heard this story before, well, buckle up because this is one of the funniest things that has ever happened in paranormal television. So at the time, Derek was the resident medium on the show Most Haunted, one of the biggest ghost hunting shows in the world.
Yes. If, again, for a moment, if you have not seen it, go watch it. Watch from the beginning so you can understand what we're talking about.
One of the first ones out there. So the show's parapsychologist, Kieran O'Keefe, had begun questioning whether Derek's spirit communications were actually coming from ghosts or from information he was somehow picking up from crew conversations and production notes. So O'Keefe decided to perform a little test. And by test, I mean he basically pulled the paranormal equivalent of hiding a banana peel in the hallway and waiting to see who slipped on it. So he invented... So if you've never seen Kieran before, he's very knowledgeable and he's very he's skeptical of everything. But that's what a parapsychologist is, right?
Yeah.
So Kieran invented a completely fake ghost, not a real historical figure, not an obscured local legend, just a completely fictional spirit. And the ghost name, well, he called him Creed Kafer. Or Kafer, or whatever, I don't know. Kafer. Now, at first glance, that sounds like a perfectly reasonable ghost name. Maybe a Victorian murderer, maybe a sailor, maybe a prison guard, maybe someone who died tragically after eating questionable medieval stew. Except Creed Kafer was an anagram. An anagram for Derek Faker. And somehow, this fake ghost ended up being contacted by Derek.
What?
Not only contacted, possessed.
Yikes.
Now, Derek allegedly became overwhelmed by the spirit of Creed Kafer, a man who did not exist, had never existed, and whose name literally rearranged itself into Derek Faker. So imagine being exposed by a Scrabble puzzle. Imagine your entire paranormal career being brought down by word jumble. Somewhere in Britain, there was probably a producer watching this unfold and quietly whispering, "Oh no." Meanwhile, O'Keefe was likely sitting in the corner wondering whether he should feel triumph or concerned that the plan had worked so perfectly. So the scandal exploded. Suddenly, newspapers were talking about it, fans were talking about it, and skeptics were having the greatest week of their lives.
Oh my God.
The paranormal community was split into three camps. Camp 1, Derek has been exposed. Camp 2, actually, the spirits manipulated the experiment. Or did he just get possessed by an anagram? And somehow this was still not the weirdest thing Derek ever did, because Derek's possessions were legendary. There was shouting, there was growling, there was dramatic stumbling, there were accents from countries the ghost had apparently never visited, and at times it looked like less than mediumship and more like a one-man improv theater performance where nobody had explained the rules. Now, I can't do this accent worth shit, so you'll hear things like, I am the spirit of Thomas. And then 5 minutes later, I am now a different spirit. And then 10 minutes later, I am possibly a demon. You're laughing because you know.
I know.
So Derek wasn't conducting investigations. He was speed running the entire cast of a haunted castle. The thing is, even after the controversies, people kept watching because Derek had something that many paranormal investigators still struggle to find: entertainment value. So whether you believed every word, half the words, or absolutely none of the words, you couldn't look away. The man had charisma, he had confidence, and he could enter a room and within moments convince you that either ghosts were real or he just consumed 6 energy drinks. Sometimes both. So even years later, the Creed Kafer scandal remains one of the most famous moments in paranormal television history. Not because it proved or disproved ghosts, not because it settled the mediumship debate, but because it gave the paranormal world a story so unbelievably ridiculous that nobody could have written it better. A fake ghost named Creed Kafer, an anagram of Derek Faker successfully contacting a psychic on national television. If a Hollywood screenwriter pitched the script, they'd be told it was too unrealistic, and yet it happened. So whether you stand with Derek Okora, genuine medium, misunderstood entertainer, paranormal showman, or accidental comedy genius, one thing is undeniable. He gave us some of the most unforgettable moments in ghost hunting history. And somewhere in that great castle in the sky, there's probably a spirit introducing himself as Creed Kafer, while Derek chases it down a hallway yelling, Yvette! Yvette! He's got me again!
Oh, Derek.
I have his books. Like I don't even know, right? I should say, I don't even know. What is this one? Ghost Hunting with Derek Okora. And then this is The Psychic Adventures of Derek Okora. Yeah, I don't even know. They're really short chapters. I'm just looking at them.
I bet.
But I have I also have all of the most haunted books. I found 2 of them down in my drawer here.
Oh, I didn't know they did them.
Yeah, Yvette Curran wrote them.
Of course.
Yeah. And then I realized I have other psychic books down there too. I have psychic books by Michel Belanger. I've got ones by Thomas, whatever the fuck his name is, the taxi medium guy person. Yeah, I've got lots of weird books. Just realizing I have.
Well, this is also why I don't like to hear or know stuff about where we're going, so that I cannot be accused of fabricating whatever via the research you do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious though. Well, my next person, you might think should not be here, but once I start talking, you'll realize why they are. And that is Mr. Harry Houdini. You're probably wondering why Harry Houdini, world famous magician and escape artist, appears in a psychic scandal episode. Well, let me tell you why. And if you are wondering who Harry Houdini is, what are you even doing on this episode? Why are you even here? Because pretty much everyone, we've been like, if you don't know who this is, you're too young to be listening to this. Clearly, you need to turn this podcast off and go play with your Teletubbies, whatever. Okay, if you don't know what Teletubbies are. So, Harry Houdini, born Eric Wise in Budapest, Hungary, on March 24th, 1874, was an escape artist and magician, probably the most famous, let's just say, who primarily lived in Appleton, Wisconsin, and New York City. He waged a legendary and lifelong crusade against psychics because he considered them fraudulent hucksters who exploited the grief of vulnerable, desperate people. Exploiting the vulnerable. So, spiritualism spiked in popularity following World War One, and Houdini was disgusted by con artists who preyed on the bereaved using cheap sleight of hand. Following the death of his beloved mother in 1913, Houdini desperately wanted to believe in the afterlife. He attended hundreds of seances, but every psychic medium he met relied on the same theatrical magic tricks he used in his own stage act. During a seance in 1922 with the acclaimed psychic medium Lady Jean Doyle, or Jean Doyle, she claimed to deliver a message from Houdini's mother, but drew a cross on a paper, an insulting mistake considering Houdini was the son of a rabbi. During the same session, the psychic medium wrote 15 pages of messages from Houdini's mother. The problem was each page was written in English, which was a language Houdini's Hungarian mother never spoke. As the president of the Society of American Magicians, Houdini felt it was his duty to maintain the integrity of the performance industry by revealing how these charlatans faked phenomena like floating horns, telepathy, and ectoplasm. And I think we're going to be doing an episode on all that fun stuff down the line somewhere because it was actually pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
So Houdini relied on his intimate knowledge of stagecraft to expose the exact tricks and trades utilizing several specific methods. Disguise and infiltration. He frequently attended seances in disguise, often accompanied by investigators like Rose McKenberg, who posed as a grieving, impoverished woman to get close to these psychic mediums. When he caught a psychic using sleight of hand in the dark, Houdini would theatrically reveal himself, disrupt the seance, and loudly declare, "I am Houdini and you are a fraud." Through committees like the one hosted by Scientific American, he publicly offered a reward to any psychic who could truly produce genuine supernatural phenomenon. It was a sum no psychic ever successfully collected. Every psychic medium who attempted failed the test miserably. He went on national lecture tours, which he titled Unmasking the Miracle Mongers, to demonstrate to the public how psychic mediums manufactured ghosts and spirits. In 1924, he also published a book, A Magician Among the Spirits, to document his findings. His crusade went all the way to Washington, D.C., where he testified before Congress, advocating for laws to criminalize fortune telling and fraudulent mediumship and psychics in the District of Columbia. Houdini died on October 31st, 1926, at the age of 52, under somewhat mysterious circumstances himself, which you can read about when you're looking up who Houdini is. As a final challenge to prove his stance, Houdini made a pact with his wife, Bess. If communication from the afterlife were possible, he promised to send her a secret code, which was Rosabelle Believe. Beth held seances for 10 years after his death, but the message never came. While the spiritualist community fought back using the First Amendment and Houdini's proposal to ultimately deny, which was ultimately denied by Congress, his relentless exposure severely damaged public confidence in the occult. Today, many modern organizations fighting pseudoscientific claims still look to Houdini as the founding father of paranormal investigation skepticism. So, in the early 1900s / late 1800s, there were still psychic scandals going on. And I guess because this was right when the spiritualism movement was starting to become really big and everyone wanted to talk to the dead through parlor games, this was him exposing the bullshit. What?
That's Jay.
I know. I was like,
he's on the phone. He's got his little buds in, but yeah. And you know what? It's funny because, you know, Harry Houdini died, but that James Randi, who was, like we talked about earlier, Canadian, did the same thing. He put all of them to the test, and not a single person could pass his test.
mm-hmm.
You can read all about him.
Interesting.
Too.
Yes.
Anyway.
Funny how it's these magicians that are debunking this
I know.
psychic sleight of hand stuff.
I know. It's yeah. Okay. My turn.
Yes. Do it. I'm listening.
Are you really?
Yes, I am. I swear.
I can hear myself now. I'm like, what is that? But anyways. All right, well.
Continue. I'm here. I'm just doing this so you don't hear yourself.
If you were alive in the late 1990s and early 2000s and owned a television, there's approximately 137% chance you heard the following phrase. And I'm going to try to play it here because I can't do it.
Let me use the power of the tarot to show you the way. Call me now for your free reading.
Call 1-800-355-3765.
Yeah. And if you didn't hear it, yeah, you were probably asleep. Because Miss Cleo was everywhere at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., at 4 a.m. You'd wake up on the couch with one shoe missing, the television glowing in the darkness, and there she was, staring directly into your soul, demanding that you call her immediately, not tomorrow, not when it was convenient, now. It felt less like an advertisement and more like your aunt had somehow learned how to break into television broadcast. So for a while, Miss Cleo was arguably the most famous psychic in North America. She wore colorful robes. She spoke with a dramatic Jamaican accent. She shuffled tarot cards. She made predictions. She told people she could help solve their problems. And most importantly, she had an unlimited budget for late night infomercials. Seriously.
Have you done the accent yet?
No, I played it. I couldn't say it.
You played it? Oh, yes. I missed it.
Call me now!
Call me, girl!
Yeah, I can't do with the accent. All right. I think Miss Cleo had occupied approximately 87% of cable television between midnight and sunrise. The other 13% was exercise equipment and miracle kitchen gadgets. Like the chopper. All right. Now, if you weren't around for this era, let me explain how bizarre this was. All right. Imagine opening TikTok every day. Or today, for example. Every third video is the same psychic. Every commercial break is the same psychic. Every billboard is the same psychic. Your microwave somehow starts playing psychic commercials. That's how unavoidable Miss Cleo was. She became a cultural phenomenon, literally. People hated her. Comedians impersonated her. Cartoons parodied her. Even people who had never called the hotline knew exactly who she was.
Yeah.
And then wild things started to unravel because the first issue was the famous promise of a free reading. You know, that magical word, free. The greatest word in human history. People love free. Free samples, free shipping, free pizza, free money, free puppies. They like free. If you put the word free in front of almost anything, humanity collectively loses the ability to make rational decisions. Well, according to various complaints and investigations, many callers discovered that free wasn't always as free as they thought. Some people reported receiving large phone bills after calling the services. Others claimed they were charged despite advertisements suggesting free readings. So suddenly people were asking questions. And those questions eventually attracted the attention of regulators and attorney generals. The company behind the service later faced legal action and settlements over advertising and billing practices. Now, here's where things become even weirder. Because the scandal wasn't really about ghosts or spirits or tarot cards or whether psychic abilities existed. It was about marketing, billing, and advertising. And who exactly was Miss Cleo? Well, you see, much of the public assumed Miss Cleo was a Jamaican psychic mystic who had emerged from some mysterious spiritual tradition. Except she wasn't actually Jamaican at all.
What?
The woman behind Miss Cleo was actress and performer Yuri Del Harris. She was born in the United States. The famous accent, a performance. The persona, a character. The public reaction, imagine discovering that Colonel Sanders wasn't an actual colonel or that Count Chocula wasn't a real count.
Wait, he wasn't?
No. People lost their minds. Suddenly the internet, which was still relatively young and feral, began digging into everything. Newspapers wrote stories, television programs investigated, skeptics sharpened their knives, and the Miss Cleo empire started wobbling like a folded card table at a family reunion. Meanwhile, somewhere, thousands of people were probably thinking, wait a second, you're telling me this television psychic character might have been a character? So the shock was measurable from space. The legal troubles continued. The hotline company faced allegations about deceptive advertising and collection practices. Government agencies challenged various claims, and eventually settlements were reached that included debt forgiveness for many customers.
Wow.
But here's the fascinating fascinating thing. Just hold on. Despite the controversy, Miss Cleo never really disappeared from pop culture. In fact, she became even more legendary because unlike many scandals, this one produced a character that was larger than life. The robes, the cards, the catchphrases, the energy, the absolute confidence. Miss Cleo could look into a camera and convince you that she knew your future, your past, your current relationship problems, and probably where you left your car keys. And she did all that with the enthusiasm of someone who had consumed 12 espressos and a lightning bolt. So today, Miss Cleo occupies a strange place in paranormal history. She is part psychic icon, part marketing phenomenon, part late night television legend, and part cautionary tale, and honestly, part meme, whatever you want to call it. Because regardless of what people thought about the hotline business, one thing is undeniable. Nobody has ever yelled, "Call me now," with that level of commitment. Not before, not since. Somewhere in an alternate universe, Miss Cleo probably did see the future. She looked into her tarot cards, saw lawsuits, saw investigations, saw headlines, saw documentaries, saw internet memes that would exist decades later, and then immediately said, well, call me now anyways. And here, I'm again for y'all.
Oh, play it.
I'm trying to help you to avoid the heartache. Don't go blindly through life. Let me use the power of the tarot to show you the way. Call me now for your free reading.
Call 1-800-355-37.
Oh my God. Call me now.
I know. And there are so many of them on YouTube if you just want to,
You have to. The best one I remember watching is a woman named Lakeisha, let's say, called and was like, I need some advice about my relationship. And Miss Cleo's like, let me guess. He's incarcerated. And the girl's like, yes. And she's like, let me guess, you got a child by this man. And the girl's like, yes, Miss Cleo. And she's like, let me guess, he's a no good. Because the guy's name was like DeRay Ray or something. And I'm like, I could have fucking guessed that too. It was the best thing.
I wonder if that was the beginning of this one, because this one was like, she was like, let's see if I can play it
Who
again.
asked you to go out of town? The stupid young one or the married one? The married one. That's what I thought. Don't go. You hear me? And you know what? You're not listening to me because I see you going.
You're not listening to me because I see you going.
I'm just telling you. I'm trying to help you to avoid the heartache. Don't go blind.
Yes, they were all like that. Let's face it.
You know,
She was great. I love Miss Claire.
at what in the 90s, I think we all wanted an aunt like
Of
Miss Claire.
course. Who didn't?
I know.
Oh my God.
She's an
It's
icon.
so funny.
She's an icon.
I see her. I see her now. And if anyone says, so just call me now, you're like, I'm tired. Like you can't not say it that way. Whatever. I don't know what that bug was. All right, let's get to the last one. This is a long ass thing. Because we're about to get canceled when I start talking about this, because it's going to be really controversial, because there's a lot of people who love these next people. So buckle up. And of course, I'm about to talk about Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were a predominant American paranormal investigative duo. They were widely recognized as pioneers and among the most famous figures in the 20th century ghost hunting and demonology. They were not, however, the first paranormal investigators, but they did popularize pulp culture ghost hunting. Ed, born September 7th, 1926, met Lorraine, born January 31st, 1927, at a movie theater in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They got married in 1945 during a 30-day survivor's leave where Ed's ship sank in the North Atlantic Ocean during World War II. Not a very good psychic wife if she didn't predict that your boat was about to sink, but whatever. We'll get to that. Ed was a self-taught demonologist. Self-taught. Red flag number one. And Lorraine was a self-professed psychic, clairvoyant, and medium. As devout Roman Catholics, red flag number two, the Warrens viewed most hauntings and possessions as the work of the devil or demonic entities, always using prayer and religious iconography in their investigations. I don't know why I'm super dyslexic these days, but I am. Good luck, everyone. It's called menopause. Look it up. While you're Googling everything else, Google that. So they began their paranormal work in 1952 and founded the New England Society for Psychic Research, which is the oldest ghost hunting group in New England. Initially, the two scoured over local newspapers to find reports of hauntings. Ed would call to see if they could investigate, and Lorraine would offer her psychic clairvoyant abilities to detect spiritual activity. This led to a decades-long career and over 10,000 reported investigations while building their occult museum full of alleged haunted objects and artifacts. The Warrens faced heavy skepticism regarding their professional legacy from both the scientific and the paranormal communities. Skeptics and former associates have frequently accused them of being grifters who fabricate or overly exaggerate hauntings, most notoriously the Amityville horror case, to make money and capitalize on the 1970s satanic panic movement. Ed and Lorraine Warren are highly controversial, with prominent skeptics, journalists, and former clients accusing them of fabricating and exaggerating paranormal accounts to build a lucrative brand. Critics argue their stories often preyed on vulnerable, grieving, and mentally ill individuals to generate fame and profit through books and films. Prominent skeptics. Joe Nickell, a prominent investigator for the Committee of Skeptic Inquiry. Nickell systematically analyzed the Warrens' archives. He concluded that their most famous cases, including Amityville and the haunting in Connecticut, were either entirely invented or severely distorted. I don't know if I said that word right. Stephen Nuella and Perry De Angelis, neurologists and skeptic investigators from the New England Society of Psychic Research, the very thing that Ed and Lorraine Warren invented. They evaluated the Warrens' physical evidence and dismissed much of it as blarney and totally unscientific. Brian Dunning, the creator of the Skeptoid podcast, conducted deep dives, such as episodes on the real Amityville horror, analyzing how the Warrens capitalized on the satanic panic paranoia in the 1970s and 80s to drive media narratives. Most notably, debunked and disputed cases. Here we go, everyone. Please buckle in. The Amityville horror. The haunting claimed that the Lutz family, following the Defoe family murders, was heavily disputed. The family's own lawyer later confessed to the press that the story was entirely fabricated over several bottles of wine to make money. Ronald Defoe Jr. later admitted from prison that he had made up demonic voices as an insanity defense. The murders did in fact happen. Ronald Defoe Jr. did in fact murder 6 members of his family inside the now infamously known Amityville house. He shot his parents and 4 siblings as they lay in their beds. I have long voiced against the Lutz family Amityville story, feeling that it never happened and it's all bullshit, which is why I have no desire to go there. And it has pretty much been now debunked that the Lutz family were just looking for a way out and needed money and coerced by the Warrens to fabricate this story.
Listen, I 100% believe you on that one. I don't think it's as haunted as it is. And yes, something bad did happen there. But you know what? We've been to New York. We've been to buildings that look the exact same. So I have way more haunting in it than the actual.
Exactly. So I remember Ryan was all like, let's go to Amityville. And I'm like, I have zero desire.
I also said, isn't that somebody's personal house? Like, that's just their house.
I think it is. My good friend's stepmother grew up down the street from there. And she was like, none of that ever happened. And that was in probably the early 2000s that she was like, it was all bullshit. Like that never, it never happened. I would go strictly based on the fact that that really horrific thing did happen and maybe just be part of that energy. But I've never believed that it was this crazy thing that happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
So the haunting in Connecticut, the Snedeker case. In 1986, the Snedeker, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Snedeker, anyways, doesn't matter. Family rented a house in Connecticut to be closer to their son's cancer treatment facility. They did not know that the house was a former funeral home. And shortly upon finding this out about their rental home, all kinds of shit began to happen, from demonic attacks to blood red water on the mob to horrifying visions. Funnily enough, the Warrens were contacted, and Lorraine used her psychic abilities to determine the house was full of demonic entities. Author Ray Garton, hired by the Warrens, wrote a book called In a Dark Place, which spoke out about which basically created the story of the haunting in Connecticut. That's where that came from. So he then spoke out about being told by Ed Warren to make things up when he struggled to find consistent evidence from the traumatized family. It was later suggested by investigators and medical professionals that the hauntings were largely the result of a combination of severe mental illness and extreme drug use by the oldest son, and the Warrens merely exploited the situation for financial gain. We're following a pattern here. Keep going. Here we go. The Annabelle doll. The real doll was a standard mass-produced Raggedy Ann doll. Skeptics note that the famous possession narrative bears a striking resemblance to a 1963 episode of The Twilight Zone entitled The Living Doll, which also features an evil doll funnily named Annabelle. The Enfield poltergeist. In North London, in England, in 1977, a series of terrifying poltergeist-like activities took place in the home of the Hutchins family. The activity was reported from 1977 to 1979 and involved single mother Penelope Hodgson and her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. Primarily affecting Janet, who was 11 at the time, paranormal investigators involved in the Enfield case noted the Warrens just showed up to the home, completely uninvited. Unlike the movie, which I think is The Conjuring 2, I think that's what this one's about. Unlike the movie wants to suggest, they were not called in at all. They just showed up on their own accord. They were accused of attempting to hijack a heavily documented case to secure media deals and book rights, despite the children involved later admitting that they were told to fake some of the phenomena. It was part of a documentary on Netflix called The Devil on Trial, which I highly recommend that you watch, as it highlights just how devious the Warrens were with regards to exploiting and capitalizing off of Penelope and the events that took place. So, legal and financial scrutiny. Skeptics frequently point to the Warrens' business practices as conflicting or as a conflict of interest. They opened a home-based occult museum and received significant cuts from media licensing, books, and Hollywood films. If you don't know what we're talking about, is now owned by Matt Rafe and Elton someone.
Castile, yeah.
Yes. And you can go there for an insanely high amount of money.
There's a
go
whole
check it
bunch
out.
of crap with them right now, including the Conjuring house, which,
Well, I know Matt Rafe had said that they were going to look at other places to purchase, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I find it hilarious that they are also trying to, well, I shouldn't say they, because I don't know how involved Matt Rafe is. It's more that Elton guy. They charge an exorbitant amount of money to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, oh, you're exploiting people again.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, not so much. We're not talking about
We'll talk about that in a later episode.
Exactly. Can we go there for free? Hit us up on our DMs.
What's wrong?
So throughout the years, they faced multiple lawsuits, including a defamation case filed by the relatives of the Glatzel family over the claims made in The Devil Made Me Do It documentary. In 1980, a young Connecticut boy by the name of David Glatzel, who was 11 years old at the time, became allegedly possessed by an evil spirit. The Warrens showed up and ordered an exorcism. It is a truly tragic story, and I highly recommend that you read about the case and then watch the documentary, The Devil Made Me Do It. In 2007, David Glatzel and his older brother, Carl Glatzel Jr., filed a defamation and financial exploitation lawsuit, alleging the Warrens invented the demonic possession story to achieve fortune and fame. The brothers claimed the Warrens exploited their family's suffering, accusing the paranormal investigators of lying and telling their parents they would become millionaires from the fabricated story, turning the Glatzel boys' childhoods into a living hell. The Warrens maintained the demonic possessions were entirely real and the exorcisms were signed off by the Catholic Church. I don't know what happened to that lawsuit, but if you watch that documentary, it will break your heart what they made that poor child go through. And later he was like, it never happened, like his possessions. Aside from paranormal bullshit, there is also another reported scandal involving the Warrens. During a giant $900 million copyright lawsuit filed by Gerald Brittle against Warner Brothers and the New Line Media, but also the Warrens, Brittle's legal team utilized the testimony of Judith Penny regarding accusations that she had been involved in a sexual affair with Ed Warren for over 40 years. She alleged that the affair began when she was just 15 years old and was living with the Warrens. She claimed in 1978 she became pregnant by Ed, and Lorraine forced her to either have an abortion or to lie to the public, claiming she was raped by a home intruder. Judith reports Ed was very physically abusive towards both herself and Lorraine, and even knocked Lorraine unconscious on one occasion. So rather than going through a lengthy trial, that whole copyright infringement thing was settled out of court in 2017. I'm not really sure how much of that was involving the Warrens, but they were involved in a lot of things. So it has been my personal opinion of the Warrens for a very long time that they were just out there to exploit desperate, unsuspecting people and capitalize off their misfortune. Similar to Peter and Sylvia, the Warrens came out at a time where paranormal ghost hunting industry was very new and there wasn't enough data to compare it to. Thus, they could, in a sense, create the industry and kind of push their own narrative. And unfortunately, exploited a lot of very vulnerable people with the claims of financial hitting it big, and then they just kept all of the money, or most of the money, I should say, because some people did get smidgens of stuff, but they basically did.
There is a lot of controversy around them, and it's funny because we were talking about this because at work my office is very quiet, so I find podcasts and I'll listen to a podcast episode. If I like it, I'll go all the way back to the very beginning, and then I have like a whole bunch to listen to, right, to make my office not so quiet. And I'm on, so I've done all morbid, I've done Two Girls, One Ghost, I am on And This Is Why We Drink, and I'm in like the 200s now, and literally one of the episodes I just listened to was on Ed and Lorraine, and they did talk about the whole Judith thing, and they really go into it, and it's actually really interesting, and it's not unbelievable. Right? Like, it is something you could definitely see. And if you didn't know, Ed and Lorraine did investigate Hinsdale.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been to a location that they've actually been to. Who knows? Maybe they made it work. I don't know.
Did they order the exorcism? Because
apparently they were a part of it.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking surprise me. It doesn't at all. So I think that Lorraine had gifts, and I mean, whatever a demonologist is, whatever. So that's great. But I do think most of their stuff was BS to exploit and sort of just make money. It's hard because when you watch the Conjuring movies, the actors that play Ed and Lorraine are really like good actors and beautiful looking people. And so you kind of are like, oh, but the real life people were not like that.
Apparently it was in their contracts, like for the movies, that they weren't allowed to mention anything about sexual relationships or anything. Like, that was wiped clean. Like, it was like clear cut. Like, these were like super religious, very well respected individuals.
Absolutely.
No backstories on that, right? So, and that's what they go into on the And This Is Why We Drink podcast. It's like, why would they write that into a contract if something like that never happened?
Oh, absolutely.
What are you trying to cover your butt for?
Exactly. Like I know in Lorraine's alone, it was that you can't like do any sort of background check on either of them but her especially, and there could be absolutely no way that you're insinuating any sexual deviancy with young children, very specific. And I'm not saying that he's necessarily like diddling little kids, but the 15-year-old. And yeah, it's really interesting that they had specific contracts like that.
Just, you know.
And that's what happens with Hollywood is if you aren't doing your research, you're just seeing for face value this thing. And you have, as I said, beautiful looking actors and actresses, and they play the role really well. And you think they're this loving, wonderful couple and great parents. And they were not. They were not. If you just watch the documentary about the Glatzel poor child, like you will want to beat the piss out of them because of what they did.
A couple documentaries on them.
They do.
Yeah.
And so I have not a lot of interest in going to the Warren place, more so now because it's so heavily commercialized because those two took it over. Back in the day, Mark and I, we have like good friends who live in Connecticut, and I was like, how close to the Warren place are you? And she's like, I'm like an hour away. I'm like, okay, sold. So I said to Mark, guess where we're going? When we are leaving. But at the time it was closed. This was prior to Elton and Matt purchasing it. So it was closed. The neighbors hate it because, again, this is not, in a plot of land all by itself. It's on a street where other people live.
It was in their house.
Exactly. So their neighbors were like, we did not sign up for cars upon cars driving down here and being here all the time, and you having this commercial business in your home. So it was always under scrutiny. And I would go just because I'd be really interested to see some of the things they have. I don't know if I necessarily believe that they're all demonic. I don't believe in that anyways, but I would just go because. And I know I watched some random thing with Matt Wraith on it. He was talking about the house and he's like, they got everything. Literally, the family just said, here you go. It has all their clothes in it still. It has tapes upon tapes upon tapes of investigations and paranormal information. They have all that stuff now, which is very interesting. You would think that would want to be kept by them, but the families,
or at least their kids. Like,
like no one wanted it. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I never met the couple, so I'm solely going on how I feel and just, evidence out there. But I don't believe what the Conjuring movies try to depict them as is what they were. I think they seized opportunities and jumped in. But
and again, the power of suggestion, right? Like, I'm going to suggest to you that these dolls are demonic, and I'm going to just keep repeating it, and eventually you're gonna believe it.
Right. And when you're in a vulnerable state, like if your child's having a breakdown, you're turning to anyone and everything. And if someone says, I can help you, here we go, I'm not going to, judge that person. No. So, and they kind of, and maybe they believed that they were helping. So there's that too. They were very religious, so they believed they had the power of God on their side, whatever. So who knows? But I would do a little research before you go in blindly believing they were.
Yeah, watch those Netflix documentaries.
Yes. They are really good.
I just realized there's a person behind me.
What? Oh, there is.
I didn't even realize they were there.
Hello.
That big fat head's been in the way. But anyways, like a scandal.
That's too funny. Just sitting there like a creep in the background.
I was like, wait a second, that's a face. Anyways. Well, I guess that's our podcast.
Long ass
I was
podcast.
gonna say, I think it's the longest one we've done.
We had a lot to say.
We did. Well, wait till we do the one on paranormal scandals instead of just psychics.
Oh man.
That one will be fun. But anyways, well, I hope you enjoyed listening to it. And if you've ever been a part of one,
if you know who Montel Williams is, let us know.
if you've ever called Miss Cleo, please tell us your experience.
Yes. Or went to Sylvia Brown's thing. I know people that went.
Yeah.
Ironically, my ex-sister-in-law went, and the predictions she gave at the time, we were all like, that's bullshit, and did actually come true. Is it because it planted a seed? I don't know.
I'm going to dig for that book now and see if I can find it. If I have it,
my God.
we'll go through it. We could do a whole episode if I have it on it.
Imagine she's right. She's like, in 20, there's going to be
I remember her
crazy...
saying that the soul of Elvis was going to come back and it was going to be another incredible singer. I have to find that somewhere. And then everyone thought it was Justin Bieber.
What? Okay.
But anyways, but if you've ever had an experience with the psychic or medium or tarot cards or anything like that was kind of made you double guess or wanted you to pull a lot of money out of your pocket for it, tell us and let us know. Warn others. Yeah, we would love to hear those stories. So feel free to share them. You can send us an email at paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. So PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. Or post on our socials or whatever. Send us messages. We don't care. But yeah, that's the end of this topic. And next week we are going to be digging into a very cultural. We're going to try to do it the best we can. But we will be talking about indigenous beliefs around death and funerals and stuff. So it should be very interesting and insightful. But yeah, that's it. And now I'm going to go enjoy the sunshine.
Oh, me too.
My kid keeps messaging me from his bedroom.
Yep, sign of the times.
Yeah. At least he's messaging instead of like barging in going, Mom.
That's true.
He's respectful. But anyways.
Good boy.
All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. And we will see you next week.
Bye.